I'm glad you remembered my statement. That's all that I need for my personal satisfaction. Oh fuck, sorry. Just the fact that you understand that I understand, even if you don't accept it, that I am a psychologist and a sociologist. I do not have any degree in those fields, but I've researched extensively and had real world experience in these areas, and I do consider myself to be both a psychologist and sociologist. Not a professional one, you know, a psycho-sociological hobbyist, you could call me. Someone who has a passion for psychology and sociology. I'll tell you, NorCal. I'll tell you this. I honestly came to that conclusion that maybe the weed does make me more psychotic, you know. And a few days ago, 2 days ago, I went the whole day without smoking any weed. And by the end of the day, I think it was actually 3 days ago, by the end of the day, I was messaging people. I messaged my sister, blamed her for us not having a relationship. I mean, yeah, it did force me to confront a lot of emotions that I hadn't felt, you know, without this to just mellow my mind. And I wasn't able to really control myself emotionally at the time and face those emotions, you know. So I think for a lot of people, including myself, it can be something you're putting off, avoiding, facing. Sorry, I'm trying to take a piss, but also I gotta take a shit now, so it's hard to piss, because you know when it's hard to release one stream without releasing the other unless you're very skilled, and at this point I don't feel like it's happening. I'm gonna have to get off here and use the bathroom soon, but yeah, so what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, I think a lot of people do use weed as something to distract themselves from facing the actual things in life, but there's also the fact that when you stop smoking weed after you've smoked weed for months and months, even years, then it can be very, you know, that was how your brain depended. That was your brain's dependency for dopamine. You know, your brain started depending on that for dopamine. So the more it leaves your system and leaves you without that dopamine, getting that dopamine back from smoking it, it takes some time for your body to start naturally producing its own dopamine again. And during that time period, you know, it can be very hard on a person. And for me, someone who's very bipolar, it's really some of the toughest moments in my life I go through was when I quit weed. And I've quit a few times. And it's funny. Usually I can go a day or two, and it's usually the third day, but this time it's like at the end of the first night. You said you lost your best friend because of the weed psychosis. Hey, you know what? Thank you, NorCal. Hello, Caitlin. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Normally, I would just not listen to somebody like you, maybe even block you. But I appreciate you really I really believe you're saying what you're saying because you really do care, you know, and you really do think that it's not good for me, you know. And I was beginning to feel like that way recently too, because I needed a change. But that first night was so hard. I may attempt it again soon, but it's hard for me to emotionally get through just one day without it, you know. I couldn't sleep either. Like usually I would go to bed at least by 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning, but it was 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I still was wide awake, hyper manic, had so much energy. I could not even think about laying down, you know. That's my first night trying to get over not having weed. I don't know what type of assistance could help me with this. I really believe the only thing that's gonna really help me the most is really the willpower to try to keep my emotions under check during the process of my body, of the THC leaving my body and my body trying to remake its own dopamine. It's very hard for me, and I'm honestly scared. I'll be completely honest, I'm scared to quit smoking weed. Every time I do, I get so worked up and so emotional, and